I promised to do this video last year, but due to some, stuff going on in my life, I didn't have time to. But I have time to do it this summer, and we are going to do it right now. With the release of No Brainer, we have 18 books to rank. We're going to be ranking these books from worst to best. So without a further ado, let's get started. At number 18, we have Double Down, easily the worst book in the series and the most forgettable. There is nothing memorable or interesting happening in this book, and there is no story. The entire book is just all over the place, and yeah, it's just a very messy read through, and I just never want to read this book ever again. At number 17, we have The Third Wheel. Honestly, the most underrated book in the entire series. I barely see anybody talk about this one. And just like Double Down, it's pretty messy with its story, with Greg trying to find a girlfriend for Valentine's Day. And yeah, it's all over the place, but I guess it's an interesting read. It's kind of whatever. At least it's better than Double Down, but that's not much of a step up. It's okay. I guess it's an alright read. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just average. At number 16, we have The Deep End. So, this one's kind of weird, because I like the premise, but it's something that we have seen before in the series, where the family goes on a road trip, but this time they're going cross-country camping, and we just kind of go from there. It's kind of whatever. It goes through a lot of things that just don't matter, and the ending is completely unrealistic. Yeah, this one's just kind of whatever for me. I could care less about this book. At number 15, we have Wrecking Ball, another premise that I like, but yeah, the ending falls flat with the pool destroying the house, leaving the Heffleys to be homeless, which is so stupid and so unrealistic that the book feels so out of focus of what it wants to tell when it comes to its story. Either the Heffleys wanting to move out of town or fix their house. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this book. At number 14, we have The Getaway. Another family road trip, this time on a plane and taking place on a tropical island resort. At least there's something to focus on with the family on the island and their vacation. So it's a decent read. I mean, I know Long Haul is better, but it's still a good read. At number 13, we have No Brainer, the recent and most wackiest book in the whole series. The whole, fact that the school goes through so many things just so it can stay alive is just crazy and just goes to show how much of a terrible school it is. And yeah, it's pretty unrealistic. It's whatever, it's all over the place, but at least there's something to focus on, especially with the story and what Greg goes through and all of the students. It's an interesting premise, but again, not very realistic. At number 12, we have The Meltdown. Don't have much to say about this one, but I love the fact that we get to see more of Greg's neighborhood and how much they don't like each other. I love the whole snowball fighting. It's an interesting read, and it's definitely a fun one at that. At number 11, we have Hard Luck. Pretty forgettable, but I do like the premise with Raleigh having a girlfriend and Greg trying to find luck through his magic 8-ball. It's okay. At number 10, we have The Last Straw. A pretty good book despite it not being talked about that much. I like that Frank, Greg's father, has more of a presence here to connect with Greg, unlike the other books where we barely see him. So I would say, yeah, the premise is pretty good, and I like the introduction of Greg's crush, Holly Hills. So overall, pretty good book. At number 9, we have The Long Haul. Unlike its movie adaptation, it's actually pretty good. This is the first book to start off the family road trip trend, and it's pretty funny, actually. This is the most funniest book in the entire series. A pretty fun read overall. At number 8, we have Big Shot. I'm surprised that it took Jeff this long to make a Wimpy Kid book based on sports, and the result is pretty good. I like the basketball aspect when it comes to the story. It's consistent, it's fun to read through. Overall, pretty good. At number 7, we have Diaper Overload. I like this book a lot because we get to see Roderick more, easily my favorite character in the series. We also get to see the Loaded Diaper World Tour. Greg is barely in this book. He's mostly just talking about what happens with Roderick and his band during the world tour. It's pretty good. It's actually like a great read, and I would highly recommend reading it. At number 6, it's The Ugly Truth. Another book that isn't talked about that much, but I like the premise that Greg realizes that he's not going to be a kid forever, and he's going to change over time and grow up eventually, which is never going to happen. He's going to be stuck in middle school for the rest of his life. But I like that. I like the premise for this book, and I think it should be talked about more. At number 5, we have Old School. A great book with a great premise of Greg having to deal with the past before, present when it comes to technology and how the past was before, going all electronic free, and how Greg doesn't want to deal with that. It's kind of underrated, but again, I still think it's a great book. At number 4, we have Cabin Fever. A great book to read during the holidays. It's just a fun, interesting book of how Greg deals with, the weather, with his family, and the events that unfold when it comes to him and Rally. It's an interesting read, and it's definitely a cool one at that. At number 3, we have Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the one that started it all. And for it being 17 years old at this point, it has aged extremely well. The cheese touch is such a huge part of this book that the story is very straightforward and is simple to understand. And for this being Greg's first time going to middle school, it is done extremely well and is still a great read even after 17 years later. At number 2, it's Dog Days. A great book to read during the summer, and I'm surprised that this is the only Wimpy Kid book that has a summer theme to it, and I think it should be done a lot more with the series. But anyways, this book is just very funny to read. I love the inclusion of the Heffley's new dog, Sweetie, brings out a lot of laughs. At number 1 is Roderick Rules, the second book in the series and easily my favorite. This book focuses on Roderick, my favorite character in the series, and does a lot with Roderick and Greg's relationship. It's such a fun read through that there are just so many memorable moments between Roderick and Greg that it's just unforgettable. It's such a great book from beginning to end that it's very hard to hate on it. Overall, easily my favorite, and it deserves the number 1 spot. And I am finally done ranking every Wimpy Kid book. While reading all of these books, there were definitely some ups and downs, but it was an interesting experience. As of the time of me recording this video, we are going to get another book coming later this year called Hot Mess. So maybe this ranking will change over time, who knows. But what I do know is that this video will become outdated once that book comes out, but we will just see. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.